California Democrat lawmakers have introduced a wealth tax bill to force people to pay California taxes years after they leave the state. I kid you not. The bill would impose an annual 1.5% tax on those with worldwide net worth above $1 billion starting as early as this month. According to the New York Post, the bill also includes provisions to create contractual claims tied to the assets of a wealthy taxpayer who doesn't have the cash to pay the annual wealth tax because most of their assets aren't easily turned into cash. This claim would require the taxpayer to make annual filings with California's Franchise Tax Board and eventually pay this wealth tax owed, even if the taxpayer has moved to another state. The legislation is a modified version of a wealth tax approved by the California Assembly back in 2020 that even the Democrat-led state Senate refused to take up and pass. The Tax Foundation says about the bill, the proposed California wealth tax would be economically destructive, challenging to administer, and would drive many wealthy residents and their current tax payments out of the state, as if they care. Already, the top 1% of taxpayers in California account for almost half of all the state income tax. Meanwhile, California faces a budget deficit of over $24 billion, despite a nearly $100 billion current surplus forecast. By the way, leaving the state to avoid taxes ain't all that easy. Here's what one tax website said. Although California's regulations provide a safe haven for individuals whose presence in the state do not exceed an aggregate of 6 months during the year, meeting this safe harbor also requires 1, having domicile and a permanent abode in another state, and 2, not engaging in any activity or conduct in California other than that of a seasonal visitor, tourist, or guest. Essentially, meeting the safe harbor requires that you have no contact in California beyond a vacation home and maybe a country club membership. And speaking of California taxes,
you know what? Rich people, I'm sure you'd agree with this, actually do pay the freight in this country. They do. I just saw these statistics. I mean, something like 70%. And here in California, I just want to say, liberals, you could actually lose me.
You could lose Bill Maher. Now, the question is, will Governor Gavin Newsom, should the worldwide tax bill reach his desk, sign it? I mean, the man is more radical than Bernie Sanders. Newsom set up a task force on reparations that recommends $233,000 for every black California descendant of slaves. This would come to a mere $500 billion in a state, as mentioned, facing an over $24 billion budget deficit. Newsom mandates that every high school student take a course in ethnic studies. He signed a bill forcing large toy stores to have a gender-neutral aisle. He opposes sentencing enhancements for criminal gang members because, after all, gangs in California are disproportionately black and brown, and therefore, to punish them for the severity of their crimes would be, wait for it, systemic racism. To fight climate change, Newsom banned the sale of gas-powered lawnmowers and leaf blowers and has outlawed the sale of new gasoline-powered cars by 2023. Or the 2035. Does it matter? He signed a bill mandating that every publicly held corporation headquartered in California have at least one member of a disadvantaged group on its board of directors. You know, a member of the LGBTQIA plus whatever community. He signed a bill establishing a council to set the wages of fast food workers with a minimum hourly rate effective this year of $22 per hour. That's a 47% increase. To deal with COVID, Newsom shut down the state, including businesses, schools, churches, in a more severe way than did any other state, including mandates that all state workers be vaccinated or tested regularly and wear masks at work or be fired. He expanded taxpayer health care for illegal aliens. Under Newsom, California is a sanctuary state for illegal aliens, and he discourages jails from referring criminal illegal aliens to ICE in order to prevent them from being deported. Newsom offers taxpayer funds to make California a sanctuary state for out-of-staters who choose to come to California for an abortion. I'm not making this up. He supported Proposition 1, approved by voters, that allows abortion up to the point of birth. He endorsed the candidacy of San Francisco's DA Chesa Boudin, who was recalled by that city's voters because of Boudin's soft-on-crime policies. Newsom supported Proposition 47, that allows shoplifters who steal $950 or less to only face misdemeanor charges if they get caught, and given cashless bail, they face no prospect of ever going to jail. Newsom supported Proposition 57, that redefined many categories of crime as non-violent, including assault on a police officer, serial arson, felony domestic violence, and rape of an intoxicated victim. I'm not making this up. He has approved a series of tax hikes that, among other decisions, demonstrate fiscal irresponsibility. It has earned him an F in the Libertarian Cato Institute report card of the nation's governors. When he was the two-term mayor of San Francisco, homelessness increased in the city, even though he promised to end it by the time he left office. And homelessness has increased in the state since he's been governor. California schools rank near the bottom of all 50 states, while California spends more on education per capita than the state has ever spent before. Newsom opposes school choice, while his own kids attend private school because teachers' unions support him financially. Under Newsom, California is losing population for the first time in the state's 170-year history. And this is just a partial list. So go ahead, Democrats, make Republicans' day. Nominate this San Francisco loon for president in 2024. And that's the elder statement. When we come back, DirecTV, having dumped One American News Network, says it will no longer carry Newsmax. What? What's that? Watch the great Aldersi cleverly reach over and pick up a pair of my slippers. That's right. They come in different colors. They come in different styles. Just call the number on your screen. There are, by the way, over 100 MyPillow products. And use promo code ELDER, MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. And this is what started it all, the MyPillow, MyPillow. They also come in different sizes. You've never slept on anything more comforting. Call the number on your screen or go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. This is a 6-pack towels that actually work. Have you ever noticed these towel companies, stores? They got them all stacked up there. They all look good. They all look fluffy. And you get them home and they don't absorb the water. Isn't that the whole point? These absorb the water. They come in different colors. Again, call the number on your screen or go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. And finally, I have in my baby brown libertarian fingers the Giza Dream Bed Sheets. Giza is in Egypt. It is where the finest cotton in the world is grown. Mike went all around the world to make sure he found the best cotton, and he did so in Giza. These come in different colors. Mine is white because, after all, I am the black face of white supremacy, but you're not. So call the number on your screen or go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER, MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. DirecTV, whose parent company is AT&T, just announced they will no longer carry Newsmax. And a few months ago, as you know, DirecTV discontinued carrying One American News Network. What's going on here? Is this another example of corporate censorship against conservatives? Joining me to discuss this, Dan Ball, Emmy Award-winning journalist, host of Real America on One American News Network. Dan, what is going on?
Of conservative voices, Larry, you know that. I mean, come on. All they have to do is label us something, and then the cowards, I guess, can I say that? Let me rephrase that. Then the folks over at certain satellite and cable carrier companies decide to bow down to the woke mob and listen to the letters that were sent by these groups of different agencies who said, please get rid of Newsmax, Fox, and OAN. And they're doing it accordingly. We were first, Newsmax. I don't know if they're strong enough to take down Fox, but don't forget, Larry, this all started over 2 years ago almost now with a letter by two California Democrats. You know them, you love them, Yeshu and McInerney. They were the first ones to send letters to DirecTV and say, cancel OAN, Newsmax, and Fox. And then a few months later, the big letter with like 16 different groups from GLAAD to everybody else said the exact same thing, and they all started bowing down to them. It was AT&T who ordered DirecTV to do it, then Verizon took us out, then Frontier right at the end of last year in November. Now, fast forward to 23, Newsmax is on the chopping block with DirecTV. Who knows what will happen to them next? Now, again, Fox is pretty big, so I don't know if they can take them down. Plus, let's be real, Fox plays ball with a lot of these folks. We here at OAN, an independent network, don't. And that's why I think we were the first on the chopping block, because we're the biggest thorn in their side.
Now, Dan, as you know, for its part, DirecTV claims it was a business decision. Nothing to do with ideology of One American News Network. Nothing to do with ideology of Newsmax. It's just a business decision.
Right. Well, I can tell you for a fact, because we had hundreds, if not thousands, of our loyal fans and viewers call and email right into our network and tell us that when they called to cancel their DirecTV last year, they were told by the folks on the other line that it was our fault we couldn't reach an agreement. We wanted too much money. If you log on today, you can see that Newsmax viewers are being told the same thing when they call to cancel DirecTV. That's the furthest from the truth. The owner of this network gave them such a smoking deal, it was almost like giving the product away for free. And they said, we don't want it because of misinformation, disinformation, blah, blah, blah. To which I say, so if you're canceling an entire network because you don't believe we report truthful facts all the time, then what the hell are you allowing CNN and MSNBC on your network for, or on your cable or satellite carrier for? Because, excuse me, I'm pretty sure those two networks and a whole bunch of other ones have reported on the Russian hoax for about the last, 6 or 7 years, never apologized for it, never retracted it. So they perpetuate lies, but they get to be on the carriers, Larry, don't they?
MSNBC has a guest named Elon Musk, who once said that the Constitution is trash. He's a regular guest. They've got Al Sharpton, who, as you know, became famous by lying about two white men allegedly raping Tawana Brawley. That apparently is okay.
Right. They can spread all the false information they want because they are liberal, slanted, and biased networks that do the bidding of the deep state and anybody in D.C. that they want that's on the left. And then you have, yes, a conservative network who tries to show the truth and also our side. Now, my show is a political talk show, so of course it has opinion, but so does MSNBC. Have you ever sat and watched that Ari clown or that Joy Reid, one of the most racist people I've ever seen on television? The stuff they spew every night is horrific towards conservatives, Christians, straight people, you name it. They're allowed to spew that. I don't say anything racist, homophobic, bigotry, none of that crap. I give you the facts mixed with a little of my opinion, yet we're the disinformation, misinformation. And you know the two things they cited? It was our election coverage and the coverage to COVID and the vaccines, of which, by the way, Larry, how many of these conspiracy theories have now been proven true? Things that this network's reported have come to fruition.
You've been vindicated. I've been vindicated. I said on the campaign trail, as you know, Dan, that I didn't believe young people should be vaccinated. They were healthy, not likely to get sick, not likely to get really sick, not likely to go to the hospital, and certainly not likely to die. I got hammered. Now, you admit that what you do is opinion. I admit what I do is opinion. CNN does not.
No.
They push the Russia collusion story. They suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story, but that's okay.
Right.
DirecTV says that's okay.
But Larry, the LA Times isn't worth the ink and paper they print on. They called you the new face of white nationalists. You're a white
no. Get it right. Get it right. Get it right, Dan. I earned that title. They call me the black face of white supremacy. Not a problem. And they have a channel on DirecTV.
Yeah,
LA Times.
and they're credible, right? The LA Times is credible. Don't take them off of any carriers. They're credible when they call you names like that. But I, God forbid, can't say, even though I just today on my program am having Dr. Robert Malone on to discuss the undercover video by Project Veritas showing a Pfizer top employee, a executive director of research and development, telling us they're doing gain of function to try and come up with new boosters to try and get ahead of the variants, and they can't do it. So they're screwing with the variants so that their vaccine will do something in the future to the new variants. He's admitting it on camera. We're reporting it. I don't see one other mainstream network reporting it today. But they would consider that misinformation, even though it's coming from the horse's mouth.
We're talking to Dr. Malone today about that Project Veritas video as well. Now, what are you going to do about it? Isn't this just forget about everything else? Isn't this a violation of your contract with the DirecTV?
So I won't get into the legal aspects of it because I'm not privy to everything that the attorneys have obviously spoken to the ownership upstairs about. But I can tell you there's lawsuits, there's mediation, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And we're not taking it sitting down whatsoever. Mr. Herring, the 81-year-old, and his sons that started this network did not do so to just go away quietly in the night back in 2013. We only been around 10 years. We plan to be around 10 more, 20 more, 30 more. So yes, you poke the old bear out here, and we're going to fight back. That's the way it goes, Larry. And I hope Newsmax does the same. You know, we didn't hear much cheerleading from them helping us last year, but I'll cheerlead for Newsmax and Christopher Ruddy, even though I question Mr. Ruddy's background as far as being a true conservative, and I'm going to just point that out. But I will fight for Newsmax's right and Fox's right, everybody's right, to be carried by these satellite and cable carriers, because that's called freedom of speech and free press. And damn it, it's in the Constitution, Larry.
Dan Ball, keep us posted. Dan Ball, One American News Network. Dan, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yep.
You got it. When we come back, the growing movement for school choice, including homeschooling. Now be sure and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. You know you like the show. You know you want to subscribe. So please, don't diss us. And scroll down and you'll see the little thing where you can sign up to get on our mailing list. And you want to do that because every now and then, for reasons that escape me, YouTube apparently has issues with our videos. So if you don't want to miss any videos, get on our mailing list. And you see that big round donate button? Hit that, throw a little something in the tip jar to keep the show rocking and rolling. LarryWithEpoch.com, EPOCH, LarryWithEpoch.com.